Self-control is one of the greatest strengths a person can develop. It is the ability to govern one's emotions, actions, and thoughts, resisting impulses that may lead to regret. Throughout history, the most successful individuals, whether in leadership, sports, or business, or personal development, have all exhibited a high level of self-discipline. This quality is not something one is born with, rather it is cultivated through conscious effort and perseverance. Without self-control, even the most talented and intelligent individuals can find themselves trapped in cycles of procrastination, poor decision-making, and wasted potential. One of the most remarkable aspects of self-control is its power to shape the course of one's life. Every choice, no matter how small, accumulates over time, forming habits that define one's character. People who practice self-control consistently are better able to resist temptations that derail their progress. Whether it is resisting unhealthy food, avoiding distractions while working, or choosing words carefully in an argument, self-control enables individuals to act based on wisdom rather than impulse. This ability is what separates those who merely dream of success from those who achieve it. However, self-control is not easy. Human nature often leans toward comfort and pleasure, seeking the path of least resistance. The mind justifies postponing responsibilities, indulging in unhealthy habits, or giving in to temporary emotions. But self-control is about delaying immediate gratification for long-term rewards. It is the difference between staying in bed for an extra hour and waking up early to work toward a goal. It is the ability to resist reacting in anger and instead choosing patience and understanding. It is the discipline to save money instead of spending it impulsively. These small acts of control compound over time, shaping one's future in ways that may not be immediately visible but are incredibly significant. In a world full of distractions and instant gratification, self-control has become more challenging than ever. Social media and entertainment and the internet offer endless opportunities to escape reality, often at the cost of productivity and personal growth. Many people struggle with procrastination not because they lack ability, but because they lack the discipline to stay focused. The most successful individuals are not necessarily the most gifted. They are the ones who have mastered their minds and refuse to let distractions control them. They understand that freedom does not come from doing whatever feels good in the moment, but from having the discipline to make the right choices. Self-control is also a key factor in emotional intelligence. Many relationships, whether personal or professional, suffer because of a lack of restraint in words and actions. A person who cannot control their temper will struggle with conflict resolution. Someone who cannot resist the urge to speak without thinking may hurt others unintentionally. Exercising self-discipline in communication, choosing to listen before responding, pausing before reacting, and speaking with kindness strengthens relationships and fosters respect. It is not about suppressing emotions, but about managing them wisely. The good news is that self-control is like a muscle. The more it is exercised, the stronger it becomes. It begins with small decisions: waking up on time, choosing a healthy meal, finishing a task without distraction, saying no to unnecessary expenses. These seemingly minor choices build the foundation for greater discipline in bigger areas of life. Over time, self-control becomes second nature, leading to a life of order, stability, and success. It is not about perfection, but about progress, about consistently choosing what is right over what is easy. At the heart of self-control is the realization that true power does not come from external circumstances, but from within. No one can control everything in life, but one can always control their response. Mastering this principle leads to a life of purpose, achievement, and fulfillment. The greatest victories are not won in the outside world, but in the mind. Those will always rise above the challenges they face. Human nature is a constant battleground of desires, emotions, and instincts. Within every person, there is an ongoing struggle between what they want to do and what they know they should do. This conflict is one of the greatest challenges in life, affecting every decision, every habit, and every path a person chooses to walk. It is a battle between discipline and indulgence, wisdom and impulse, long-term fulfillment and short-term pleasure. No matter how strong or successful a person appears to be, no one is immune to this struggle. It is a universal experience, one that has shaped the course of history. led to both great achievements and devastating failures, and define the difference between those who rise above their weaknesses and those who succumb to them. One of the most challenging aspects of human nature is the tendency to seek comfort and avoid difficulty. The mind and body naturally crave ease, pleasure, and instant gratification, even when these things lead to negative consequences. It is far easier to sleep in than to wake up early and be productive. It is more tempting to eat unhealthy food than to maintain a disciplined diet. It feels better to give in to anger in the heat of the moment than to practice patience and self-restraint. Every day people are faced with choices between what is easy and what is right, and too often the easier path wins. This struggle is not new. Throughout history, countless individuals have faced the same inner battles. Great leaders, thinkers, and visionaries have all had to fight against their own weaknesses, doubts, and desires. Some have overcome them, left behind legacies of greatness, while others have been consumed by their inability to master themselves. The difference lies in self-discipline. Those who recognize the challenge of human nature and make a conscious effort to resist its negative pull develop strength, resilience, and the ability to achieve their goals despite obstacles. One of the reasons this struggle is so intense is that negative habits form easily while positive habits require effort. It takes almost no effort to become lazy, but it takes tremendous discipline to stay active and work hard. Giving in to temptation requires no thought, but resisting it takes willpower. The mind is constantly looking for shortcuts, for ways to avoid discomfort, and for excuses to delay responsibilities. This is why discipline is not something that comes naturally. It must be trained just like a muscle. The more a person practices self-control, the stronger it becomes. The more one gives in to weakness, the harder it is to break free. Another aspect of human nature that makes discipline difficult is the tendency to justify poor choices. The mind is skilled at rationalizing bad decisions, making excuses, and convincing itself that it will do better tomorrow. This is why people often say they will start a diet next week, begin exercising after the holidays, or work harder when they feel more motivated. But the reality is that the battle against human nature is fought in the present moment. There is never a perfect time to start making better choices. The more a person delays, the more their negative habits strengthen, and the harder it becomes to change. Despite the difficulty of this struggle, overcoming it is possible. It begins with awareness, recognizing that not always a reliable guide, and that following every impulse leads to failure and regret. It continues with small acts of self-discipline, choosing to wake up on time, resisting distractions, controlling emotions, and making decisions based on long-term goals rather than immediate desires. Each victory over human nature, no matter how small, builds momentum and strengthens discipline. Ultimately, mastering the struggle of human nature is the key to success, happiness, and fulfillment. Those who allow themselves to be controlled by their weaknesses will never reach their full potential. But those who recognize the battle, fight against their impulses, and train themselves to make wise choices will rise above their struggles and achieve greatness. It is not about never failing, it is about never giving up in the fight to become better, stronger, and more disciplined every single day. Many people believe that success comes from motivation, that powerful feeling of inspiration that pushes them to take action. While motivation can be a great starting point, it is inconsistent and unreliable. Some days a person might feel highly motivated to work, exercise, or pursue their goals, but on other days they might feel tired, discouraged, or unmotivated. This is why motivation alone is not enough. The true key to success is consistency, showing up and putting in the effort even when one does not feel like it. Consistency is what separates those who achieve their dreams from those who give up when motivation fades. One of the biggest myths about success is that people who achieve great things are always motivated. The reality is that even the most successful individuals struggle with days when they do not feel like working, practicing, or pushing themselves. What sets them apart is that they do not rely on motivation to take action. They have built the habit of discipline, training themselves to stay consistent regardless of how they feel. This is what makes the difference in the long run: small daily actions repeated over time. Motivation is like a spark. It can ignite excitement and energy, but it does not last forever. When a person starts a new project, a new fitness routine, or a new habit, they often feel highly motivated. However, as time passes and challenges arise, that initial excitement begins to fade. This is the point where most people quit. They wait for motivation to return, but it rarely does. Instead of pushing through, they make excuses, telling themselves they will start again when they feel ready. But the truth is, waiting for motivation is one of the biggest obstacles to success. If one only works hard when they feel motivated, they will make slow progress, constantly stopping and restarting. Consistency, on the other hand, builds momentum. When a person commits to taking action every day, even in small ways, they create habits that eventually become automatic. The first few days or weeks might be difficult, but over time, consistency turns into discipline. A person who exercises daily, regardless of how they feel, eventually stops questioning whether they should work out, they just do it. A writer who writes a little every day, even when uninspired, eventually completes a book. A student who studies consistently instead of cramming at the last minute masters their subject. In every field, consistency beats bursts of motivation because it leads to steady progress and long-term results. One of the reasons consistency is so powerful is that it builds trust in oneself. When a person follows through on their commitments, they prove to themselves that they can be disciplined. This strengthens confidence and creates a sense of reliability. On the other hand, when someone constantly starts and stops, they reinforce a habit of inconsistency, making it harder to believe in their own ability to succeed. Each time a person pushes through resistance and takes action, they build mental toughness, making it easier to stay disciplined in the future. The key to developing consistency is setting small, manageable goals and committing to them no matter what. Instead of aiming for perfection, one should focus on progress, doing a little every day rather than waiting for the perfect moment. Even when the results are not immediately visible, consistency compounds over time. Just like a drop of water can eventually shape a rock, small daily efforts lead to massive transformation. In the end, motivation is fleeting, but consistency is what leads to mastery. Those who understand this truth and apply it in their daily lives will achieve far more than those who chase temporary bursts of inspiration. The real power lies in showing up, doing the work, and staying committed no matter what. That is the foundation of success in any area of life. A lack of discipline has far-reaching consequences that can affect every aspect of a person's life, often in ways that are not immediately noticeable. At first, it may seem like small acts of neglect, hitting the snooze button instead of waking up on time, procrastinating on important tasks, indulging in unhealthy habits, or avoiding responsibilities. These choices may appear harmless in the moment, but over time they compound and create a life filled with regret, failure, and missed opportunities. Discipline is the foundation of success, and without it, even the most talented or intelligent individuals can struggle to reach their potential. One of the biggest consequences of a lack of discipline is inconsistency. Without discipline, a person may start many things but rarely finish them. They may have big dreams and ambitions, but without the ability to stay committed, those dreams remain unfulfilled. They might begin a fitness journey with excitement, but give up after a few weeks. They might set goals for personal growth, but fail to follow through when challenges arise. This inconsistency leads to frustration, self-doubt, and a sense of failure. The more often someone quits or delays important tasks, the harder it becomes to break the cycle and develop the discipline needed to succeed. A lack of discipline also leads to poor decision-making. When a person does not train themselves to think long-term and control their impulses, they become more likely to make choices based on immediate pleasure rather than lasting benefits. This can be seen in unhealthy eating habits, reckless spending, addictions, and even in relationships where emotions dictate actions rather than wisdom. People who lack discipline often make decisions that feel good in the moment but create problems in the future. Over time, these poor choices accumulate and create unnecessary struggles, making life more difficult than it needs to be. Another major consequence of undisciplined living is a loss of opportunities. Success is often the result of small, consistent efforts over time. People who lack discipline struggle to maintain focus and commitment, leading them to miss out on chances that could have transformed their lives. Whether it is failing to develop a skill, not pursuing education or career opportunities, or neglecting relationships, an undisciplined person often looks back with regret, wondering what could have been if they had been more consistent and committed. Opportunities rarely wait for those who are unprepared, and discipline is what ensures that when the right moment comes, a person is ready to seize it. A lack of discipline also leads to stress, anxiety, and a sense of being out of control. When responsibilities pile up due to procrastination, when unhealthy habits take a toll on health, or when financial instability arises from poor spending habits, life becomes chaotic. An undisciplined person constantly feels overwhelmed, struggling to keep up with obligations that could have been managed easily if they had practiced discipline from the start. The mental burden of unfinished tasks and neglected responsibilities creates a cycle of stress that affects overall well-being. Relationships also suffer when discipline is lacking, whether in friendships, family, or professional settings. Discipline is necessary for maintaining trust, reliability, and respect. People who are undisciplined often fail to keep their promises, arrive late, neglect their commitments, or act impulsively in ways that hurt those around them. Over time, this behavior erodes relationships and creates distance between them and the people who once relied on them. A disciplined person, on the other hand, is seen as dependable, responsible, and trustworthy, qualities that strengthen connections and create deeper, more meaningful relationships. Perhaps the most painful consequence of a lack of discipline is the regret that comes with wasted potential. Many people look back on their lives and realize that they could have achieved more, experienced more, and become better versions of themselves if only they had been more disciplined. This regret is often accompanied by a sense of helplessness, as lost time cannot be regained. While change is always possible, the longer a person lives without discipline, the harder it becomes to rebuild the habits needed for success. Ultimately, discipline is not just about following rules or restricting oneself from enjoyment. It is about creating the best possible future. Those who lack discipline often believe they are enjoying freedom, but in reality, they are trapping themselves in a life of struggle, regret, and missed opportunities. True freedom comes from having control over one's actions, choices, and future. Without discipline, a person is controlled by their impulses, circumstances, and emotions rather than shaping their own destiny. The consequences of a lack of discipline are far-reaching. But the good news is that discipline can be developed at any stage in life. The sooner one chooses to cultivate self-discipline, the sooner they can break free from the patterns that hold them back and build a life of success, stability, and fulfillment. Building discipline is not about having superhuman willpower, but about creating habits and structures that make self-control easier and more automatic. Discipline is like a muscle. It grows stronger with use, but if neglected, it weakens over time. Many people struggle with self-discipline because they believe it requires extreme effort, but the truth is that it can be built through small, practical steps. By consistently applying simple strategies, anyone can develop the discipline necessary to achieve success in any area of life. One of the first and most important steps in building discipline is setting clear goals. Without a defined purpose, it becomes easy to drift through life without direction. Goals give a person something to strive for and a reason to stay disciplined. However, goals must be specific, measurable, and realistic. Instead of saying, I want to get in shape, a more effective goal would be, I will exercise for 30 minutes every day. Instead of saying, I want to save money, a better goal would be, I will save 10% of my income every month. When goals are clear and actionable, it becomes easier to stay disciplined because there is a defined path to follow. Once goals are set, the next step is to create a structured routine. Discipline thrives in an environment of consistency. When actions become part of a daily schedule, they require less mental effort to complete. A structured routine eliminates the need to decide every day whether to take action. It simply becomes a habit. For example, setting a fixed time to wake up, exercise, work, or study removes the temptation to procrastinate. A person who schedules their tasks and sticks to a routine is far more likely to stay disciplined than someone who relies on willpower alone. Another key to building discipline is removing temptations and distractions. It is much easier to stay focused when there are fewer obstacles in the way. This might mean keeping unhealthy food out of the house, setting app limits on a phone to avoid excessive social media use, or creating a dedicated workspace free from distractions. The fewer temptations a person has to resist, the easier it is to stay on track. Discipline is not just about saying no to distractions, it is about designing an environment that supports success. Accountability is also a powerful tool for building discipline. When people keep their goals to themselves, it is easy to make excuses and abandon their plans. However, when they share their goals with someone else, they create a sense of responsibility. Whether it is a mentor, a friend, or a coach, having someone to check in with can provide motivation and encouragement. Some people find it helpful to join groups where others are working towards similar goals. A sense of community can strengthen commitment and make the process more enjoyable. Small, consistent actions are more effective than attempting drastic changes overnight. Many people fail at building discipline because they try to do too much at once. They start a strict diet, an intense workout plan, or a rigorous study schedule only to burn out quickly. A better approach is to start small and build gradually. Instead of committing to reading for an hour every day, start with 10 minutes and increase over time. Instead of trying to wake up 2 hours earlier, start with 15-minute adjustments. Small wins build confidence and make long-term success more sustainable. Another important aspect of discipline is learning to push through discomfort. Discipline often requires doing things that are not enjoyable in the moment but lead to greater rewards in the future. The ability to take action despite discomfort is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. Developing discipline means training the mind to embrace challenges rather than avoid them. This can be done by gradually increasing difficulty, whether it is pushing a little harder in a workout, extending study sessions, or resisting small temptations. Tracking progress is another essential step in building discipline. When people see how far they have come, they feel more motivated to keep going. Keeping a journal, using habit tracking apps, or marking completed tasks on a calendar can provide a visual representation of progress. Even on days when motivation is low, seeing past achievements can serve as a reminder of why staying disciplined is worth it. Finally, building discipline requires self-compassion. Many people give up because they make a mistake and feel like they have failed. The truth is that setbacks are a normal part of the process. The key is not to let one bad day turn into a bad week or a bad month. Instead of being discouraged by failures, disciplined individuals learn from them and move forward. They recognize that progress is not about being perfect, but about making consistent efforts over time. Discipline is not something that happens overnight, but anyone can build it by taking practical, intentional steps. By setting clear goals, creating a structured routine, eliminating distractions, staying accountable, starting small, embracing discomfort, tracking progress, and practicing self-compassion, discipline becomes a natural part of life. The rewards of self-discipline are immense: greater productivity, stronger character, improved relationships, and the ability to achieve goals that once seemed impossible. With consistent effort, discipline transforms from a challenge into a way of life. A disciplined life brings rewards that go far beyond personal achievements or external success. It shapes a person's character, strengthens their mindset, and provides a deep sense of fulfillment that cannot be found in shortcuts or fleeting pleasures. While discipline may seem difficult in the moment, its long-term benefits make every sacrifice worth it. Those who embrace discipline find themselves living with greater purpose, stability, and control over their future. They become the kind of people who not only set goals but achieve them, who not only dream but turn those dreams into reality. One of the greatest rewards of discipline is the ability to achieve goals that once seemed impossible. Many people have ambitions, but without discipline, those ambitions remain mere wishes. A disciplined person, however, understands the power of consistency and perseverance. They know that success is not the result of luck or talent alone, but of steady effort over time. Whether in career, fitness, education, or personal development, discipline is the driving force that turns hard work into accomplishment. Every time a person stays committed to a task despite obstacles, they move one step closer to success. Over time, these small victories add up, leading to life-changing results. Another powerful reward of discipline is self-respect and confidence. When a person follows through on their commitments, they prove to themselves that they are capable and reliable. This builds a strong sense of self-worth that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. On the other hand, those who constantly break their promises to themselves often struggle with self-doubt and regret. Discipline eliminates that inner conflict by creating a sense of control over one's actions. The more a person practices discipline, the more they trust themselves to do what needs to be done, regardless of how they feel in the moment. A disciplined life also leads to better physical and mental well-being. Many of the struggles people face, such as stress, anxiety, and poor health, are the result of undisciplined habits. Procrastination leads to overwhelming workloads, unhealthy eating leads to sickness, and lack of exercise leads to low energy and weakness. Discipline, however, brings structure and balance. Those who prioritize their health by maintaining good habits feel stronger, more energetic, and more in control of their lives. Their minds are clearer, their emotions more stable, and their ability to handle stress is significantly improved. A disciplined person does not live in a constant state of crisis. Instead, they create a life that is stable and well managed. Financial stability is another major reward of discipline. Many people struggle financially not because they do not earn enough, but because they lack the discipline to manage their money wisely. Impulsive spending, unnecessary debt, and lack of savings create long-term financial stress. A disciplined person, however, makes thoughtful financial decisions, avoids unnecessary expenses, and consistently saves for the future. Over time, this discipline leads to financial security and freedom, allowing them to live without the constant worry of money problems. Relationships also benefit from a disciplined life. Trust and respect are built when a person is reliable, keeps their promises, and maintains self-control in their words and actions. Undisciplined behavior, on the other hand, often leads to broken trust, misunderstandings, and conflicts. Those who practice discipline are better at managing their emotions, listening to others, and maintaining strong, meaningful connections. Whether in friendships, family, or professional relationships, people naturally gravitate toward those who are dependable and responsible. Perhaps the most fulfilling reward of discipline is the freedom it brings. Many people see discipline as a form of restriction, but in reality, it is the key to true freedom. An undisciplined life is filled with chaos, regret, and dependency, while a disciplined life creates independence, self-mastery, and the ability to shape one's own destiny. When a person has control over their habits, choices, and actions, they are no longer ruled by circumstances or emotions. They have the power to create the life they want, rather than being a victim of their own lack of control. In the end, discipline is not about suffering or denying oneself enjoyment. It is about creating a life of meaning, stability, and long-term success. It is the foundation of every great achievement, the key to confidence and self-respect, the path to better health and financial security, and the source of stronger relationships. Those who choose discipline over comfort reap rewards that far outweigh any temporary difficulties. They become the kind of people who not only dream but achieve, who not only wish but act, and who not only live but thrive. The rewards of a disciplined life are not just external, they shape a person from the inside out, making them stronger, wiser, and more fulfilled in every aspect of life.